so I can't really imagine having a job right now and trying to do this as well. But it's a big leap, for sure.
And it wasn't something we took lightly or did haphazardly. We were probably ready to do it, like, emotionally a year before we actually did it. But sometimes you have to be, you decide, like, I want to be a person that takes risks and goes all in.
I'm your host, Brian McCann, and this is the Road to Wine Expert podcast. Here we are, the end of season 1. Cue up the Boys to Men because it's the end of the road. But thankfully, in the good news department, it is not the end of the Road to Wine Expert. The podcast will return for season 2 soon. We're going to take a bit of a brief break, record some fresh new episodes, and in the interim, you'll have time to catch up on some episodes you may have missed. Stay tuned, we'll make an announcement right here on the podcast when we are about to come back. In the more good news department, if you're an avid listener of this podcast, you know that when we hit 1,000 downloads, I was going to give away $1,000 worth of wine-related books and resources. Well, we did it. Amazing. And with days to spare, indeed. So the contest is now live. And to enter for your chance to win one of 5 prize packages, you can go to roadtowineexpert.com/1000. I'm really excited to give away these books and resources to fans of this podcast because they're books and resources from guests of this podcast. And you may or may not know this or realize it, but all of my guests in season 1 were hugely influential in my early wine career. And I would not get to where I was today if it weren't for them laying the foundation. So my hope is that someone who wins this contest gets fired up about being in the wine industry and can create their own awesome new thing that hasn't existed before. So sign up at roadtowineexpert.com/1000. Hopefully there'll be a winner. So on to today's podcast, the final episode of season 1. It's a little bittersweet, and it was really hard to figure out how to end season 1. Unlike starting, where I knew that Cal was the way to go, ends are tough. And while it's a pause, I still wanted to pick someone, and I couldn't really just pick one person. So I picked 2. This is my interview with Nikki and Erica, the co-founders of Yes Way Rosé. Yes Way, that exact wine brand you're thinking of. They're all over Instagram. They're all over wine retail shops with their wine now. And what's so cool about this interview is to just think about the monumental growth they've experienced in 2 years. It's such an incredible story. And when you hear how they actually got started, it's even more amazing. But it's just proof that momentum and good ideas just can carry you really far. So sit back, grab a glass of Yes Way Rosé or whatever you're drinking, and enjoy my interview with Nikki and Erica.
For us, it was really unintentional. It was just being together, hanging out, and realizing that we loved rosé. I mean, we had been hanging out all through, we lived in New York City during school and after school, and it was really after school, college, that we became really good friends working in a similar industry. And when we discovered rosé, it was like we had finally found our drink. It's like, it's always such a tough question when you don't really know exactly what you like, and wine or alcohol or beer isn't your thing yet. So it was really hanging out, discovering that we loved this thing, creating like a dialogue with each other about it, and realizing that it was the thing that we talked about by far the most.
Nikki, anything to add?
Well, I think that's pretty much it. And so we started like developing these jokes around rosé, and then realizing just all the kind of puns and rhymes you can make with using the accent and in other words. And that's kind of what prompted us starting Yes Way Rosé, the Instagram account, because we just were cracking each other up, kind of developing this language around it. Our friends thought it was funny, so we thought maybe other people would think it was fun too. So that's really what prompted us to start the Instagram. We never intended to start a brand or start a business. It was just really like a fun outlet for two friends to share.
It was a productive way for us to, filter all this fun we were having. It was almost too much fun not to share with other people.
So it started as fun, and then how did you realize it was turning into something more than just a side project?
I always say, I think the first time I knew it was really a thing was when we got our first press, which was probably after about a year of doing the Instagram. And we were contacted by a writer from Vogue.com who asked us to share, a little bit about what we were doing and also what our rosé picks were for like that summer, 2015, I think it was. And we were like, oh my God, we love rosé, but we didn't really feel like we were experts, and we were super nervous. I remember like we kind of slaved over those picks. And then the article came out, and it was really that writer who wrote about how we had created a lifestyle brand. And she said that, and that was kind of like a whoa moment, like a light bulb moment for us, where we're like, oh, wow, we actually really are doing something here. We need to kind of like catch up with that a little bit, because this is how everyone else is seeing us. This is like an opportunity for us. And that was really the first time like I realized how much of a thing it was and could be.
She really articulated what we weren't able to articulate yet, like being so in it and just doing what feels right and being the creators. I think at that point we wouldn't have never been able to describe what we were doing. And so we're very grateful to that writer for doing that for us.
Wow, that's late.
Yeah.
So you're in it for about a year. The article hits, things sort of take off. And then where has the journey led from that moment to where you are today?
That really established us. There were a lot more eyes on us, and people, I think we took ourselves more seriously. I think we always kind of took it seriously, but, took it to the next level, and were able to accelerate. So at that point, we had only had our tote bag, and we started developing more products. And it was, I think that was 2014 was that press. It was really the following year then that things really started to take off, and we had more products. We did a nail polish collaboration, and we're really doing things that we felt were really right and different and fun. And we're still evolving. So, it's really taken us to like be a proper business, like logistically, getting all certified, launching our website, more content, going full time. That's really where it's taken us.
Can you talk about the decision to go full time? Because I think there's probably people who are going to be watching this who are would-be Instagram personalities maybe, or potentially thinking about going from building a following to making it a business. So how did you come to that decision that Yes Way Rosé was more than just a side project?
Definitely took some time. It was a lot of like stressful hustling time before we came to that decision. I had a full-time job. Erica had a regular weekly freelance column in the New York Times. Like we were both very busy. And then trying to fit this in between work emails and on the weekends. And I think we were both just exhausted, but, we were just not really sure what it was. But as we continued doing it and things became more solidified and it became more and more of a business, we're like, okay, if we want this to be something, the time is now, and we have to put our time in or it won't have a chance. So it was definitely like scary, but so far so good. It's working. I think definitely like we fill our days every day working on this, so there's like never a lack of things to do. So I can't really imagine having a job right now and trying to do this as well, but it's a big leap for sure.
And it wasn't something we took lightly or did haphazardly. We were probably ready to do it, like emotionally, a year before we actually did it. But sometimes you have to be, you decide, like, I want to be a person that takes risks and goes all in with something, and you have to actually do it too, you know? So I'm happy we are, because there's so much to do, and it allows us to tackle more things and take advantage of more opportunities.
Can you talk a little bit more about yourselves as a team?
We're both creative. Erica comes from a writing background and a fashion background. I come from a graphic design background, also like working in fashion and magazines. So like at the very baseline, she's doing the writing and I'm doing the design and a lot of like the, you know, photo editing and that kind of stuff. But then when it comes to other tasks, like we have to deal with our accountant and our shipping for all our stuff. It's kind of like a rock, paper, scissors situation. Who gets to do that? Because we both are kind of creative people. So the business side and the administrative side has been like, you know, the biggest learning curve for us, but we're getting there. But it makes it easy for us to kind of divide and conquer, because we have such specific skills that put together make a really good team.
Now, Erica, you mentioned getting certified. Did you get wine certifications through the quartermaster sommeliers? Did you do something else to up your wine expertise?
Oh, not in terms of wine, more just in terms of our business, becoming official and doing everything, you know, one needs to do to run a business. No, we aren't wine, we're not sommeliers or wine certified. If there could be a wine lifestyle certification, like,
Maybe masters.
That's great. Do you have any desire to go out and seek, you know, some formal wine expertise?
I think this is something we think about, both of us, and I think we know what our passions are. I mean, at this moment, the thing about Yes Way Rosé is it is so lifestyle. There are so many different parts of it, and we want to grow all of those things. And maybe down the line, there's, you know, when all of that's in place and done, we can, you know, take more time to do that. But right now it's really developing this thing that we created and wanting to see it through from all of the different angles. Wine is some place that we, you know, when we started, we wanted to learn as much as possible, and it's such a priority for us to, you know, taste and be in the wine world and be connected to people in the industry. But I don't think that we're there yet. We love traveling for wine, but just in terms of time-wise, it's not where we can be just yet.
Also, I think it's like something that I love about Yes Way Rosé, and I think is a big part of it, is that we're not sommeliers and we're not claiming to be. We came into wine from a totally non-wine background. We've met so many amazing people who are really experts, and it's like there's no way, you know, we're not trying to be them or top them or even imagine we could learn as much as someone who's like really dedicated their lives to this for, you know, years. But what we do is we taste wine, we find out what we like and what we don't like, and we just kind of go with that. It's more like for us, it's not about knowing like every single grape varietal necessarily. It's more about like, does this wine make me feel good? Do I like the label? Like, does it come from, is the winemaker cool? You know, like just that's kind of our vibe with it, which is cool. I mean, I think it'd be awesome one day to like do some kind of wine certification, because that's just a cool thing to do. But I don't think it's even necessarily part of Yes Way Rosé, because we look at wine from a really like approachable way, and a way where it's just like meant to be fun and only, slightly educational.
You talked about sort of evaluating rosés, and a little bit of your criteria. You said, does it taste good? Does it make me feel good? Which I think are sort of, that's how everyone should approach wine, not just rosé, but important nonetheless. And then, is there a cool story behind it? Can you talk a little bit more about like your grading process? Let's say you're reviewing some rosés that you want to feature or want to talk about. How do you go about, where do you taste?
We have some trusted wine stores, and wine bars, and people we trust, and we've met a lot of incredible people. And I think Nikki really touched on it. There's, you have to kind of have a connection to it, and we will learn about a wine and then become obsessed with the winemaker, read everything that there is, and that connection that goes a lot deeper than what we're tasting. So it's really all encompassing. And usually at the wine store, they're very educated about everything from the label to the winemaker. So what's right, what's good to buy. And I also stalk websites for wine stores that I love to see what new things they have come in and what looks good, and then deep dive on Instagram and research and see what's happening and what kind of sounds cool, and what I'm interested in trying. And yeah, so that's as much a part of it as how it tastes.
So going back in time, do you remember the rosé that started it all?
I wish.
It was definitely from Provence. It was definitely just like a really light, easy Provence rosé, of which name we will never remember.
Probably the cheapest on the menu.
Yeah.
Or somewhere on the least expensive side.
So I hate to ask this because it might be blasphemous, but is there anything other than rosé that you drink?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love mezcal, and I love a Campari soda, Aperol spritz. We were just in Mexico and had we're drinking mezcal neat, and it was really fun. Yeah, we definitely love drinking other things, trying other wines. We love also the canned spritzes like Coxie Spritzer, Ramona Fizz are really fun. So yeah, I wish we were just drinking rosé, but it was sort of a gateway to learning about other things as well, which is great. We're all about rosé vibes, and that doesn't necessarily mean it just has to be rosé, so it kind of exists in other things too. In the winter, I love, red, trying other reds. I don't really drink it as much in the summer because there's not enough time to try other things other than rosé in the summer.
What advice would you have for people who are in similar positions where you were, maybe prior to getting press or just after getting some press, where they're considering starting a business or turning it into something full-time? What are some tips you wish someone had told you prior to starting?
I would say, we held on to our day jobs for a while. So that's one, is just keep going, pushing it, as hard as you can. And we really were able to utilize Instagram at the right time, before it really became this place where people were launching brands. And I don't know if we would be able to do what we did today. If we were doing what we're doing and we were trying to launch today, I think it would be totally different. So I think you need to, find the way to launch that's like unique to your brand and think outside of the box a bit. I mean, right now, like anyone can go on Instagram and, have a brand in a day. That's not really how we did it. It took years before we even said that we had a brand. So I think it's like taking your time with it and really developing it as much as possible, kind of looking at it from all angles and not feeling like it has to be done one way. I mean, we have like so many different facets of our company. There's the wine, there's the merchandise, there's the content, and we really go hard with each and every one of them because we don't know necessarily which one is going to end up being the biggest success. So we have to put all of our energy into all of them. So I mean, we figured that along the way. I think thinking about there not just being one path is a good tip.
Get a lawyer and an accountant. ASAP.
Yeah, you have to protect your ideas with the internet as much as possible. Don't put anything out there unless you're ready for either that idea is protected or you're ready to not be able to have ownership over it anymore. That's the risk that you take every single time you put something on the internet. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to have ownership over something that you created, which is really hard. Jokes get repurposed, and it's, if you're the person who has created it, that really hurts. I mean, you have to remember that to let it go, and if you're the creative force, that there's a million more ideas. But if you want your brand, I mean, I think that when we started, we wanted to see like where it went and how people responded to it, and we weren't thinking about it in that way. But if you think, oh, I have this great idea, I have this great vision and look and everything, then I wouldn't just haphazardly put it anywhere near the internet until you're ready.
Who are the most influential people that set you off on this journey? You can mention each other, which is fine. But if there's anyone else who inspired you to go down this path and really create a whole successful business?
I think there's been a lot of people along the way that have helped us so much and really inspired us. And for us, it's been a lot of like meeting women in the wine business because it's a little less common. It's kind of like has been a male-dominated industry. So just like becoming, women in wine for us and being able to kind of team up with these other amazing women has been super cool. Our good friend now, her name is Meg McNeil, and she is a sommelier and the manager and buyer, or she was the manager and buyer at our favorite wine store in Brooklyn called Dandelion. And we were introduced by a mutual friend right at the beginning of when we were starting to do this. And she just really loved the idea and was so supportive. They let us do a rosé tasting in their store, before it was our first event we'd ever done. Now we just had the 4th annual Dandelion tasting a couple of weeks ago. And she just really kind of took us under her wing and was so she was so passionate about wine, and she taught us so much, and we tasted a lot with her. Even when we did the first Vogue article, we had to pick our wine picks. We ran them by her just to make sure we didn't sound stupid. So she's been really inspiring and maybe one of the first people that really accepted us in the biz.
And she's also she's super knowledgeable and passionate and smart about wine and takes it seriously, and also is the most fun person ever. And I think it's a hard thing to straddle. Some people in the wine industry are really serious, and you don't ever you're like, you mean you're drinking wine? Are you fun? You can't really tell. But she is this magical force, and she puts her, she's a beautiful writer, and so she utilizes all of her passions towards her wine and her new wine business. And that's really inspiring too, that you can be a unique voice and personality in the wine industry, and fun and smart and a woman and all of these things that she is.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. But before I let you go, what is the best place people can learn more about Yes Way Rosé and all the cool things you're up to?
Well, yeswayrosé.com will link you to everything, including our new blog, the Yes Way Report, where we feature rosé makers, labels we love, rosé enthusiasts, people we think are fun, interesting, who love rosé, as well as a diary of things we're up to. Also, Yes Way Rosé on Instagram.
And all our merch is available through yeswayrosé.com as well. There's a shop link with really fun. We just made a candle, pretty cool, and lots of other fun summery stuff.
It's called Eau de Rosé Vibes.
Nice.
You know, looking back on this interview, I think about where I was 2 years ago when I first interviewed Nikki and Erica, and I can remember being in the wine shop and people still coming in and seeing the rosé display at the beginning of summer, late spring, and still scratching their heads at it and wondering, oh, is this a thing? Like, we're doing this? And those on the inside knew that it was coming and continued to grow year after year. And just thinking where we were at then to where we are now, it's more than just a drink. It's a way of life, and it's their brand and multiple brands, and it's just cool to see, they were at the right place at the right time with the right idea, and it just all took off. So if you're interested in Yes Way Rosé products, you can go to yeswayrosé.com to learn more about Nikki and Erica, who, beyond having Eau de Rosé Vibes candles and wine of the same name, they also have a book. So check them out and be sure to follow them at Yes Way Rosé on Instagram. So this is a wrap for season 1. If you loved it, if you hated it, if you were pretty neutral about it, I'm still curious. So reach out to me at brian@roadtowinexpert.com. That's BRIAN. And tell me what you thought. Also, if you're still around, you should definitely sign up for our $1,000 books and resource giveaway. You could be one of 5 people who wins this $200 prize package full of amazing wine-related books and resources. Many of the books on this list were guests of the podcast, and all of the books were hugely influential in my early wine career. So if you're interested in building up your library, go sign up at roadtowinexpert.com/1000. That's the number 1 followed by 4 zeros. And I'm Brian McCann. This has been season 1 of the Road to Wine Expert podcast. I'll catch you in season 2. Cheers.